Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a preview for the 2020 WGC Mexico Championship. Like I've done in the last couple videos, I'm going to do again. If you'd like to watch this video in a faster speed, go ahead, drag your cursor over my face or on the screen somewhere. Click the gear icon somewhere down here. Find playback speed. I recommend 1.5 times. You can watch it at whatever speed you're comfortable with. If you're on mobile, go ahead. Click on the three dots that make a vertical line, find playback speed there, and again, select whatever speed you're comfortable listening to this at. If you rather not and you still want a faster way, or with both, I have timestamps in the description, so you'll be able to get to whatever you want to listen to faster, more efficient. That's what life's all about, right? Okay. Let's go ahead, look at what I'm going to talk about in this show. I'm going to go through course information, course history, recent form, the 2019 DK review, grass stats, and swing stats for the 2020 tournament. What I'm going to do first, though, it wasn't in that index there. Actually, course information. We'll go over this. We're in Mexico. The golf course is the Club de Chapultepec. We've been here for, this will be the fourth year now. It's a par 71, 7,300 yards. It's at extreme elevation. I think it's the highest elevation point that any of the PGA Tour has ever been on. Which equates to, so the higher you get, the further the ball travels. It's like 20% extra distance. So when these guys are trying to determine the yardages that they want to hit, they have to do a little bit of math. So they're going to get a 20% increase in distance on their higher clubs, most likely, not so much their wedges. And they'll figure out the science. They've been here, again, they've been here. This is the fourth year. A lot of these golfers have been here for 3 years. They know the formula that they need. So, I mean, we're going to see as we look through some of the recent form tabs that really any golfer can do well here. It doesn't matter if you've played here before. Again, these guys are going to figure it out during this week, during the practice rounds. It's not going to be difficult. So it's worth mentioning. That's all I want to get at. We are on Poa and Kikuya grass once again. I don't think the greens are going to be nearly as tough as the Riviera, so we don't really have to find the exact same type of golfer we would want from the Riviera. But we're also in a limited field. There are only like 70 golfers at this tournament. We really don't have to do that much digging to find the best golfers or the most suitable, or trying to find the optimal lineup. It's going to be a little bit easier. I'm actually pretty excited because I do pretty well in limited fields, especially when I talk about the bucket system, which I do in the lineup construction video. The designers here, some guy named Willie Smith and Alex Smith, I'm guessing they're family of some kind. They first designed this golf course, and I can't remember Clifford's first name, but some Clifford guy came in and redesigned it in 1972, I believe. So, not that important. But this course is going to play very short. It's going to be pretty decent at scoring, which leads me to what I was going to talk about. So I was going to say I'm going to start out with, and then I went into course information. Well, I'm going to start out with the results. That's kind of where I wanted to go. Usually I go to course history, but we're going from course information to results. Here are the results. I have it named for which golf course they played at. So the WGC used to be called, or Mexico used to be called the WGC Cadillac Championship. And that's when it was in Florida at Doral in 2016 and beyond. But it moved to Mexico in 2017. So 2017 to 2019, it's been played at the same golf course. And honestly, somewhere between 14 to 16 is what we could assume is going to be the low score. DJ obviously in 2019 was 21 under, but if we look at DJ scores throughout the last 3 years, he is definitely somebody we want to target. That's why he is the thumbnail of this video. I would definitely be looking at someone like DJ. Now we also have Justin Thomas, who again kind of follows that mold. I think either golfer is going to be fine, and actually pairing them together on a lineup might be the way to go. Although we do have Rory McIlroy here, so a lot of fun ways to make lineups. But let's go ahead, go into the course history, which I have named TH for tournament history because I also have Doral and the Mexico course history. This is just the tournament average, and I have it right now sorted by the Mexico course history. No surprise, DJ is at the top. If you look at the formula up here, we're just looking at these golf courses or these years, which obviously they moved the tournament here in Mexico in 2017. And again, you can just tell the best course history at this golf course belongs to Dustin Johnson, followed by Rory, followed by Justin Thomas. Basically, your three best golfers here, arguably three best golfers in the world. But you can also see someone like Xander Schauffele, probably at his price, might not be worth playing. And the rest of these guys too. I like Tyrrell Hatton. This is pretty good. I don't remember how much he costs in this field, but we'll go over that. You guys can see what the course history is. Take a snapshot. I'm not going to talk too much into it. My videos run pretty long anyways. But you can see right here who are our top golfers. Let's go ahead and look at the recent form. Here's the 2019 recent form. I really couldn't find a correlation. Again, we have a limited field, so we're not going to have a lot of golfers that have course history, let alone, like last year's stats. Of course, we're going to have some with recent form, and I guess that's something we can look at because we're going to have a lot of European golfers over here, which I don't have any recent form stats on. So that's worth mentioning. I do want you guys to know that. Like Joost Luiten here came over from Europe, didn't have any recent form on him. Same with David Lipsky. If I actually go to the 2020 recent form tab, we're going to see a lot of golfers down here that just don't have any recent form, that have not golfed on the PGA Tour this year, and really within the last 6 years. So now we can really full-fledged look at recent form because now it starts at the beginning of the year. Now, they have not taken any breaks within these 6 weeks, and including these 7 weeks. So this is a full-on review or a full-on analysis of the last 7 weeks or last 6 weeks of recent form, which that's the number of weeks I like to go back when I look at recent form. So therefore, we can look at something like this for the other years. I'm only going to go back to 2016, but there is something really interesting in 2015 I want to share with you guys. Yeah, as we can see, pretty decent recent form. You had Kiradek here, who played a handful of events, not even a handful, 3 events leading up to this. This is when he first kind of tried a PGA Tour event. I don't remember if he had any sponsorship exemptions or if he was a PGA Tour member. I really don't remember. I don't remember seeing him in a lot of tournaments, so I think he had some kind of temporary status, basically. But yeah, 4.33 was your best. That was Rory. He's coming in with the almost exact same recent form. Dustin Johnson, 19.33. I wonder if he's coming in with the same. Pretty darn close. So both of these golfers coming in with the same recent form. We can look at, maybe we look at Justin Thomas not coming in with the same form, but we can look at the other years to see what it looks like because he's not coming in with the greatest of recent form. And if you watched my videos beginning with the Tournament of Champions, I thought this guy was going to be the best golfer to roster this entire year. And a lot of it was just how well he finished last year and what he looked like at the beginning of this year, like the actual PGA Tour season, which started in October. He just looked really good. But a missed cut at the Genesis, which those greens were awful, and he putted terribly. I don't see that happening with JT this week. I don't think he's putting terribly. But you can find a lot of the other top price guys here with really good recent form. I don't see Tyrrell Hatton up here. Here he is, 7,400. keep that in mind looking forward. But looking at 2019, again, decent recent form, not the greatest. I guess if I really wanted to, we can go ahead. Look at the finishes of the top recent form guys, and you can see a lot of guys are in the top 10. You got first and second place. You know, these are your top 20 golfers, I think. Excuse me. But yeah, as you can tell, recent form, definitely something worthy of looking at. Mark Leishman, the worst finish. Don't know what happened to him, but Rahm and DeChambeau, those weren't good finishes either. So it's not quite indicative of success, at least not 2019. We can go to 2018, and we're going to see much of the same thing. Now we're not getting a lot of course history because obviously this tournament started the tournament started at this golf course in 2016. So we're not going to have a lot of course history. Recent form, I guess, still applies. Good recent form. You had Hatton with 1 tournament and Kiradech with 1 tournament the week before coming to this tournament. A missed cut, 68th place, not very good. These literally could just be, you could delete these. Because I don't know what they were doing the week before. They're both European golfers. They were coming over here. Who knows? Jet lag could have been an issue at the Honda Classic, and the Honda Classic Open isn't really a cakewalk. So either way, I'm not really looking so much into these recent forms being super high. But again, recent form, definitely something I would consider looking at. I can sort by recent form again. We can see the finishing position. So yeah, your first place guy up here again, third place and second place. Recent form is going to matter. Course history is going to matter as well. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's definitely not one of those like super important things. Again, you're going to have some golfers who just have not golfed this golf course that are probably going to finish inside the top 10. Go to 2017, and this is the last year we're going to look at this. Don't have a lot of recent form. Fisher and Fleetwood came over here from Europe. And same with Rory. Rory didn't play a single tournament for that PGA Tour season leading up to it, which is really interesting. I didn't think that would be the case. But either way, recent form still matters, looks like. We again can sort by recent form. Not going to see as much, but you do have first place again and third place up here. So definitely considerations, I would say, for sure. Course history, yeah, your first place guy, a couple 7th places, but not as prevalent. Oh, well, I don't see how this is course history. I wonder if that's just tournament history. It's got to be tournament history. I'd have to confirm with that, but still. We're looking at recent forms, so that's what we're going by. Here's the one thing I wanted to point out. Adam Scott won last week. Last time Adam won, well, I should say, last time he was at this WGC event, and had won a tournament the week before, he won it that week. So it might be worth looking at. Who knows? That's just, could be coincidence, but who knows? We'll see. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to go. I mean, recent form is definitely something we want to be looking at as we, scour the last few years prior to that. It's just not an end-all be-all, so I'm not going to really so much talk about it. All right, so let's go ahead and review the 2019 DK page. This is just try to find some kind of, edges that we can figure out for golfers that have done well. I'm going to go ahead, hide this information. Again, if you want, take a snapshot of this right now, pause the video, look at all this stuff here, because I'm going to hide salary to value because I don't care to really talk about it. I don't think it really matters. But we do have this information up. If you want, you can also look at the buckets here. This should just say B as opposed to Q. I used to name it the qualifier instead of the bucket, but Okay, now we have the full stats up here, which is what I want. First thing to look at, let's look at the top guys of overall POA. You have first place, second place, third place, sixth place. I would say overall POA, you definitely want to be looking at. Maybe looking at the elite golfers or golfers that, yeah, I would definitely just, well, you had Spieth, Rahm, Henrik Stenson, Matt Kuchar. Those are golfers that have pretty good overall POA splits and did not do well at this tournament. So I wouldn't select everyone. You know, definitely either water down your ownership and just spread it amongst all these top guys, because obviously like Dustin, Rory, and Jon Rahm, you could have really liked Jon Rahm. He had really good recent form coming into this tournament. 45th place. I guess I wouldn't have really cared. Maybe Kuchar, you know, that seems pretty decent recent form and course history. Same with Justin Thomas. I mean, 9th place isn't bad, but I think for his price, it wouldn't have been good, and I'm not going to unhide that. But I think you definitely want to play around with ownership with these players. Obviously, if you want to win the max amount of money, you just put in full ownership on a couple guys and then just hope those are the ones that hit. But this is a no-cut event. That's the other thing, too. It's a no-cut event. So go hog wild with your ownership, I guess. We don't have to worry about that. But if you do want to find the optimal lineup, you kind of have to figure that out. So that was overall POA. 2019 POA looks pretty similar. You have your second place, your third place. Our first place down here would be in 20th place. And everyone between, you can see all the light green. That means top 20. The yellow is 20 to 40. The orange is 40 to 60. You can see a lot more light green than any of the other colors. So didn't want to really talk too much about that. And now when we get into the swing stats, you're not going to see a lot, honestly. Sure, we see a lot of green, light green. You do have second, you do have third, sixth, and first. But it's not a real tell. Tee to green, can't really see much. You also can't really see much with off the tee. Sure, second place is, you know, your top guy, but then your next 5, not worthy enough to play. Your next golfers down here, I mean, like 17th or 14th, not worthy to play. 6th place, sure, he was also in the optimal lineup, or the $1 or $5 GPP winning lineup. You obviously wanted first, and then there's Ian Poulter. That's another good one. I had written down in my notes that you wanted tee to green and approach. Approach didn't matter at this tournament last year. And these are the rankings coming into the tournament. These are their PGA ranks coming into this tournament. So if you go back and listen to some of the DFS guys from 2019 talk about this tournament, they were really on approach and tee to green. None of those stats really applied. So don't get oversold by that. It isn't. It's not worth it. But you can see like approach, nobody really. I mean, Cam Smith, sure. And then Rory down here and Paul Casey. You have to go down the list a little bit in order to find those golfers. Don't go hog wild with the top 15. Pick a couple, but don't pick all 6. Around the green actually surprisingly had a bit more success, like Dustin Johnson, Ian Poulter, and Paul Casey. You also had Patrick Cantlay and Cam Smith. Again, I can't remember who it was. Go ahead and take this off. So the $5 GPP winning lineup had these guys in the light blue. Cam Smith and Patrick Cantlay were on it. Surprisingly, Paul Casey wasn't, but you couldn't afford it. That's the other thing also. $50,000 was used last year in order to get to the $5 GPP winning lineup. So again, you don't have to leave money on the table in order to win this event. And I'm not even sure the optimal lineup is what I say it is, because I don't have points for Paul Casey or Joost Luiten. So I wouldn't go fully by that. So yeah, around the green, really interesting. Obviously, you wanted Cam Smith, Patrick Cantlay. You also wanted Dustin Johnson, Ian Poulter. You didn't want Paul Casey, but those 4 golfers around the green. So do you talk about around the green then? Because that's probably worth talking about. Putting, I don't think putting is going to matter. And as I say that, it kind of does. As you can see, 3, 6, that's not what we want. 1 and 2. Those are definitely worthy to talk about. Or, I mean, they're worthy plays. Like, you would want to play those. So, putting in around the green, short game, which isn't surprising. It's a short golf course, so finding golfers that are good in those areas might be beneficial to your lineup building. Proximity doesn't really show up. Not going to talk about that. Green and reg, also not a good stat to go by. Birdie or better, also not a good stat to go by, at least not for 2019. Again, these are the PGA ranks heading into this tournament, not, these aren't snapshots at this tournament or how the winner did at this tournament. This is actual information leading up into the tournament, which I find is way more beneficial than telling you what we've seen as the top stats at a golf course or at a golf tournament. I just don't see how that's beneficial whatsoever. But that was the 2019 DK review. Let's go ahead and look at the 2020 DK and basically use what we just talked about and look at our golfers with POA events and things of that nature. So I did a copy of what I saw was the bucket system. So if you guys care about that, you can look right here. I will have more on that with the lineup construction. And I don't even know if these numbers are going to change. They possibly could. But definitely, if you want, you can take a look there. But I'm going to go ahead and scroll over. So we hide that. And I'm going to scroll over one more. Okay. We can go ahead and look at... we don't really want to look at course history, recent form. We kind of already did that. I suppose we didn't for the 2020. Sure. Oh, yes, we did. Course history and recent form. What am I talking about? I'm going to go ahead and hide this information, and we'll pull up the POA. You can see the stats. Sorry, the stats kind of going through right here. That's a lot of the POA splits, so you guys can look at, if you haven't been paying attention, who the top 5 are in this tournament. But we can also talk about it. I didn't include Jazz, Jane Watananon, or Mike Lorenzo Vera, because they only have one event each under their belt, and I think this was from last year. So I'm going to go ahead and just hide that right now. I'm actually going to hide 1, 2, and 3 and go by this. So Adam Scott won last week, your top guy for overall POA. 46.88% chance, or not chance, but 46.8% mark of finishing inside the top 10 at POA events. So that's nearly 50%. Pretty good. I would consider playing him. Rory McIlroy follows him. 24.72 overall POA. POA, I mean, this golf course, he's going to eat. He's going to eat up. Hard not thinking about playing Rory. If I wanted to take a stance, I'd play him in 50% of my lineups. And the other 50 is I would spread the other 50 around because I think Rory might be the best golfer. I don't know how much his will has broken from not playing very well at the Genesis, but it's definitely worth consideration. Tyrrell Hatton, I like that. $7,400, a really good play, especially on POA. He is an aggressive putter, and that's what you need to be on POA. I like that. And he has good course history here as well. Dustin Johnson, one of my favorite plays. Him and Rory, definitely one of my favorite plays. 47 events under his belt, 26.38 overall POA finish, average finish, 48.94% finishing inside the top 10. So again, nearly 50%, just like Rory. He just has 15 more events. So I would say I don't think Rory's going to get worse stats. I think Rory's your number 1 POA guy. Yeah, I'd say he's your number 1, and then Dustin would be your number 2. Adam Scott would be your number 3, and those are real close next to each other. So I definitely think that way. Paul Casey has really good POA stats. John Rahm also, not nearly as many of events as the other guys, but still, he is a very impactful player. So definitely consider him. Hideki Matsuyama, not as he lost so many shots gained off of putting, which is kind of his MO. But he was on with his irons last week. that could translate over, and it might be the one thing if you want recent form to pair up with. Maybe that's what we do with approach. Look at recent form and approach, and that's actually something I should have done in the 2019 DK, but I'm not going to do it right now. I do want to make this video a little bit faster than usual. So yeah, again, you can take a snapshot, look at all the rest of the players. Basically, this is going to be the same. So your top 10 POA percentage. This is, again, the mark of the golfer finishing inside the top 10 at POA events. So Rory, 32 events, and 16 of them he finished inside the top 10. So that's basically how we look at that stat. Again, you guys can take a snapshot of it and look. Rory, Dustin, Adam. Again, those were the golfers I told you in order how I thought of them. 2020 POA, so that's this year, and we have 4 events under our belt now for POA events. So we do have a good amount of tournaments that these golfers would have played. Unfortunately, I don't have the events for this year under their belt. Any of these round numbers, you can almost guarantee they have only either played 1 or 2. 6, 7, obviously you can tell that's 3 tournaments that he's played, and so on and so forth. So definitely take that into consideration. Now, I didn't see anything for we kind of already talked about it, but I didn't see much when it came to any of the swing stats, for the 2019. I'm not positive what to think about it. But anyways, we can go through tee to green stats, and I am going to, first of all, let's get rid of this filter over here, and then we can use this and get rid of the blanks, and we can just deal with these top 2 being blank. But starting at Rory, you can see here are your top guys. Really, I don't see a price break that we would want. I still like Colin Morikawa. Sergio's definitely someone to play. Maybe a good pivot for Morikawa. Bubba Watson, a lot of people are going to be off of him, but I just don't know. I really don't know. I think this could be a good golf course for Bubba. I don't know how invested he's going to be. That's the hard thing to think about with Bubba. His 2020 POA does not look good. Obviously, he has at least 2 events under his belt. I'm just not sure when it comes to Bubba. I do like Bryson a lot at this golf course. Adam Scott and John Rahm, not bad plays. I like the Scotty Scheffler down here for $7,100. Overall, POA doesn't look good, and I don't know why. There we go. Overall, POA does not look good. 74, has not found a top 10 yet, and in 2020, 57.5. That's not really good. But either way, tee to green maybe mitigates that, and he plays a little bit better. Same with Carlos Ortiz. Kind of like him, but I'm not going to go over everyone. I keep doing that. Off the tee wasn't that important, but again, go ahead, take a snapshot of this. If you do like any of these golfers, go for it. Kokrak and Scotty Scheffler definitely, and Corey Connors, your cheapest golfers at the top. But I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. Sorry. Definitely sorted by the wrong one. Approach, your top guy is Webb Simpson, followed by Mark Leishman, Colin Morikawa, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas. 7,500 for Graham McDowell. I don't really care much for. Same with Brandon Grace. Don't really care. But now we have Corey Connors that showed up twice. That's pretty decent. I don't think I'm playing Webb. Oh, maybe I should. He's been so hot this year, and this actually isn't bad stats, because this goes back to 2013. These stats right here. He's been playing so well over the last couple of years that I don't know if we just ignore that. Well, I might, honestly. Around the green, though, this was a stat we saw mattered last year. And really picking like 4 golfers out of these top guys here might be the way to go. So like Rory McIlroy, probably the play. If we look at like Dustin Johnson from last year, which we don't see up here. So Rory might be a good play. Pairing him up with Adam Scott sounds like a fantastic thing. I like Byung-Hun An. I guess I would also look at, the POA splits here. Jordan Spieth might be worth a play. Again, for me, it's going to be coming down the bucket system with Jordan Spieth. It didn't match last week, and he didn't do well last week, so I felt pretty fortunate not playing any Jordan Spieth. Yeah, maybe it's worth looking at some of these guys down here. I do like Carlos Ortiz also. So yeah, definitely worth consideration there. Go ahead, go into the putting. Maybe pick a few players here. Again, we'll have to figure it out, but I'm not gonna put a lot of stock into putting. Again, take your snapshot. I'm gonna move on. Go ahead and go to green and reg. In all honesty, these stats we already looked in 2019. Didn't think any of this really mattered. But I'm showing you guys so you guys can see. Here, you guys, your top guys with green and reg percentage. Your top guys with proximity, starting with Webb, going down. Again, pause the video if you see some golfers you like. I'm not talking about these stats because I just don't think they're relevant. I want to think birdie or better matters at this golf course because I think it's really scoreable. But it didn't show up last year. Not saying it won't show up this year, but it's not one of those telltale stats we want to look at. I also included driving distance, driving accuracy, and good drive percentage. I really don't think it matters at this golf course. If anything, I was thinking like good drive percentage would matter. And here are your top guys for good drive percentage. Other than that, I don't really think I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. Again, when I create lineups, I base a lot of it off of the bucket system, which again is last year and last week's results, basically, and then trying to figure out how well that matches up year after year. Again, I do a frequency, I go by that. I'm going to find more of my golfers. I'm going to find a comfortable way of playing players. And then I'll come back and look at the stuff we just went over. So come back to the channel on Wednesday. I'll have the lineup construction video up then. And I will go over that bucket system. And hopefully we can find some edges when it comes to that. I know in 2019, it was a lot of just the 1-1s or the 1-3s, or just the last year ones, basically. So I think it's going to be a good tell. Again, you can follow me. Well, you're going to see posts come up on Twitter. You'll also see, if you're subscribed, videos come through your timeline whenever I post them. And again, lineup construction will be out Wednesday. Other than that, I got nothing else to say. So thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you Wednesday.